Hey everyone, Eezore here, and in this video I'm going to give you some advice on the game Clicker Heroes. Now, I'm playing this version on the Xbox One, and it's a free game, and it is available I think on Steam and possibly mobile devices. I'm unsure exactly where it's all available, but I'm playing on the Xbox One version. As such, it might be a little bit different if you're playing on a different version, so sorry if I say the wrong buttons or the wrong information, but yeah. I'm going to be pretty much covering what to do for your first Ascension in this game. And I'll kind of break that into details a little bit later here. So, first things first, what do you do in this game? Just like other clicker games, it's a clicker game. You hit a button like X, it does damage, and then you get money from the monsters. So you do so much damage. As you can see, I have a click damage, and then I have a DPS, which is damage per second. That's a passive, it always goes. So the active information is the click damage, the passive information is the DPS. So pretty simple rules. Now, what makes this one kind of fun, especially the fact that I really like passive games that you can play without playing, so to speak. So this one's really cool in that aspect. As you see here, I have all the heroes that I can hire. I can hire Sid for 4 gold, which will end up, she increases my clicker damage. If you click in the right stick, you're able to see more information. So she increases click damage by 300 damage. I already do a lot of it just for the simple sake of reasons. I'll go into that a little bit later. But you're going to end up pretty much struggling the first time through. You're going to have to keep spamming the clicker button, and as you attack and kill monsters, you'll keep getting more and more money and everything like that. So that's kind of how you start off playing the game. So eventually you'll end up buying Tree Beast, which does a damage per second. So it'll continuously do so much damage every second, just automatically. That's about that. Now, you have to kill at least 10 monsters in order to be able to continue zones. So right now I'm in Zone 1, I've already killed 10 monsters. I'm going to go to Zone 2. And when I get to Zone 2, you'll see there's a counter there. It goes 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just killing them so fast. 10. Now I can go to the next zone, and every zone you go up will give you more and more money, and the monsters will have more and more health. Now, this is important because obviously you need to keep leveling up your heroes. So I'm going to level up Tree Beast to level 10. So now Tree Beast is at level 10. Now, a really nifty little thing is that level 10, 25, 50, 100, I'm sorry, 75, 100, 125, and 150, and it kind of jumps around in that area somewhere. The heroes will get skills. So Tree Beast at level 10 will get a skill, and his skill will increase his DPS by 100%. So instead of doing 1.371 times e to the 5th, which is 10, 10 to the 5th power, he's going to do double that. So you can see it jumps to double. Now, this is important because that's kind of how you get a lot of your damage, is doing that. So just kind of make sure you're paying attention to that. As you see here, I am doing a lot more damage than what it says, because it says I should be doing 2.7 to, I have 5.755 e to the 7. I'll explain that a little bit later as to why that is, but regardless, as you're playing through the game, generally your consensus is to kind of level up everyone so they're kind of equal. I'm not going to lie, once you hit their max one, so I think Tree Beast at level 100 is his final one. Yep, at level 100 is his final one. Once you get all of their abilities, I would suggest moving down. Now, you don't want to just sit there and go, hey, I'm going to get all of Tree Beast's abilities before I go to Ivan, before I go to Britain. No. You want to pretty much try to keep it so it's like, if you have his second ability, I would say get Ivan's first ability. So get Ivan's first ability. So if you have Tree Beast's third ability, I'd get Ivan's second, and then Brittany's first. And you kind of want to cascade them down until they're done. They do more damage the further down you go, and it's very much a consistent, hey, you will always do more damage. So you kind of want to keep moving down the ladder as fast as possible. There are a couple that don't do all that much, like for example Betty Clicker. Her biggest thing is that she will actually end up increases everyone's DPS instead of just her own. So for example here, Tree Beast has Fertilizer, increases his own DPS by 100%. Ivan has Hard Cider, which does an extra 100%. Combat Makeup, 100%. Spear Training, 100%. But then you get to Betty Clicker, who has 20% to everyone. Now, when you get this, you'll see that everyone else will jump up by 20%. So it's really, really good to have her, but ultimately she's not going to be doing a lot of damage herself. She just buffs everyone else damage a lot. So just kind of be mindful of that, like what perks you're going to be buying here. Another thing here is that Sid will eventually at level 150, I think it is, he'll have all of Sid's abilities. After that, don't level up Sid anymore because the extra click damage she does not scale. And so it doesn't really make sense after 150, when she gets her last bonus, to keep putting points into her because it doesn't keep adding more and more damage. And the reason for that is that right here. There's a lot of heroes that have this ability where you end up increasing your click damage by 0.5% of your total DPS. That is infinitely more beneficial to increase DPS, so you do the damage per second on top of getting more click damage, than just increasing Sid's, who only does click damage. So you'll get quite a few. I think there's a lot of people who have that extra damage, click damage. So, like I said, after 150, don't level up Sid anymore. Pretty much once you get everyone's abilities, just stop leveling them up. So we're gonna level up Ivan. I think his last one is at 125. All right, now some heroes will have abilities. Like for example, Ivan has Power Surge, and Sid has Click Storm. If you go to the very left here, this is the entire abilities bar. You're able to use them at any point you'd like. For your first time through, I would recommend I would use them all at once, and I would only use them on bosses when you get stuck on bosses. So I'm gonna try to get stuck on a boss. It wouldn't really matter because I do something different. But that's how I would play it. So I think the next one comes from Alexa, which I will have right here. And that comes from her level 100 ability. She has an extra 50% chance to critically strike. She also has a chance increase your critical click chance. So, like I said, she's a little weird too, but she gives you that ability. Now, that's going to be your big three. That's how you're going to pretty much get through a lot of the bosses for a while. Because I'm not going to lie, it took me about 11 or 12 days to get my first Ascension. And the reason it takes so long is that you'll play, obviously the monsters give you more and more money the higher up you go, but it doesn't necessarily scale with how much damage they have. So sometimes you'll get stuck on a boss for a long time. And like I said, when you get stuck on a boss, I would recommend trying to use all your abilities at once. If you know you can't kill them, I would go back to the previous one. Your triggers. So like if I go left trigger, I can actually go back. So now I'm on 58, now I'm on 59, now I'm on 58. So your left trigger goes back, right trigger goes forward. I would go back one level and just sit there and keep grinding out the money and whatever highest one you get before the boss. So if you're stuck on floor 60, I would sit on 59 for a while, just get a whole bunch of money, and then keep going. So that's pretty much how your first playthrough is going to go down. You're pretty much just going to be trying to level as much as possible, going as high as you can, but ultimately getting stuck on bosses and just having to wait until you can plow through them with your abilities. They have different cooldowns, anywhere from 10 minutes. The longest one I think that I saw was 8 hours, but that's increases your passive damage by everything by 0.05 or by 0.05 by multiplier of 0.05, so basically like by 5%. Like I said, you don't want to level up everyone once they get past level 100. You want to keep going down as far down as you can go. I just like nice even 100s for levels, just because I'm so much further along. Alright, there's that. Sorry if the cat is getting in there. He is right next to me, and he is very, very loud with his breathing. Aren't you? We are just gonna buy all these. This is just a OCD thing of mine. I have to buy them all, so it's kind of annoying. Alright, so eventually you get to King Midas here, and when you do, he's a little bit different in the fact that all of his abilities, instead of increasing his damage or anyone else's, they just give you more money. So it's good to buy him, but he's not really necessarily like as important as, like, for example, his guard before him, which increases his damage, everyone's damage. Oh no, he's just all DPS, and then obviously the click damage. So George is really good, and then King Midas just sucks. You'll have that where you have some really bad heroes. King Midas is one of them where it's like, hey, you're good for your extra gold, but you're really not damage-wise all that great. Amenhotep is pretty good. It's pretty much like that, where he's not really useful after like the level 50 or so. Beast Lord just as bad. I hate Beast Lord. He's like one of the He's one of the weakest heroes ever, even with scaling. So anyway, so that's how you play the game. That's what's going on. That's everything like that. Now, for your first ascension, like I said, you'll eventually get stuck. After a while, you'll eventually break one at level 100, which I'm about to right here. Excuse me, I had a little bit of a coughing fit there. When you break level 100, I'll actually explain this real quick here. I have a fish here, as you can see where the monsters are. If I hold in left trigger or left stick and X, I'll actually get a bonus money. You have a chance of getting rubies, which are gonna be. Nope, stop it. Go to that in a second. Rubies, which are going to be the freemium money, and you can get that with the shop. Now you can pull the shop up at any time. What I would recommend you do is you save all of your rubies for your 2x multiplier to all your damage forever. That is so big. No matter what, you will have that for the rest of your playthrough. The earlier you get that, the better it's going to be. So no matter what, you'll be doing double damage for everything. After that, the only thing I would spend rubies on is the hero or the quick extensions. And the reason for that is you will get, after level 100, every 10 levels that you break, every 10 levels you'll get a gilded hero. So you don't need the gilded heroes. There's no point in buying them. The cooldowns refresh and the extra gold, you get gold way too quick. Yes, it's a little bit more gold than what you would normally get, and all your cooldowns are really cool, but it's not worth the rubies. The relics you can find easily enough that it's not worth buying 3 because there's no random. If it was hey, you could buy this one really good relic, I'd make it. But since it's random ones, they could all be worse than what you have now or just completely useless for your build. So I wouldn't recommend that. The auto clicker is the only thing I would recommend just because that sticks with you forever as well, and you can buy multiple. And there it's like, hey, you can automatically be going with it. However, I have an idle build, which I'll get into in another video, so the auto clicker is kind of useless for me. So like I said, the biggest thing after that multiplier is going to be the +1 Ascensions. So we're going to get into level 100. So once you hit level 100, you'll start fighting a monster called Omet. When you beat Omet for the first time, you will be given +1 Hero Souls. Hero Souls are located in the top right of the hero bar, so if you see like Beast Lord, Amatep, above that is going to be the Hero Souls. I have Ascend for +2. That means if I were to Ascend right now, so basically restart the game, I would get an extra 2 Hero Souls. Hero Souls are very, very important for multiple reasons. The first one being you get an extra 10% damage for every 1 Hero Soul, cumulative. So for example, I have 3,000, so I actually get an extra, 30,000 damage? Just from having those 3,000 Hero Souls, and that's just flat out across the whole board. That's how I'm able to do so much more damage than what it says on the thing. Like when I said originally for Tree Beast, is that Tree Beast was supposed to be doing so much, but he actually does so much more, and that's because of the fact that I have all those Hero Souls. When you get that first Hero Soul, in order to ascend, you have to go to Amenhotep, which you will eventually get. And when you do get him, his last one, which you need to get him to level 150 to do, is called Ascension. Now, when you do this, you get all of your Hero Souls instantly, and you start all over from level 1. It resets all of your hero levels, excuse me, all the abilities you've bought, everything. You do get to keep a couple of things, which I'll get into later, and you'll get your Hero Souls, so it will make it a little bit easier, but ultimately, you want to kind of be careful with when you do it. Now, you don't want to do your first Ascension at level 100 when you get that +1 for several reasons. Reason number 1 is that all you get is an extra 10% damage boost. Alright, so if it took you 11 days to get there, and then you reset, all you're going to get is an extra 10% damage to get back to level 100 to get another 1 Hero Soul. It doesn't make sense. What you want to do is you want to keep going past level 100 until you get to about level, I'd say, anywhere from level 120 to 140. 140 is where I got. That was the final one that I couldn't do, and that wasn't a hero. You'll fight bosses. Oh, that was a primal, but whatever. You'll fight bosses every 5 levels, as I said, and every single one is a chance to become a primal boss. What a primal boss does, it's a little bit different. It kind of has like a glowing aura of power, and when you beat it, you get extra Hero Souls. Now, the first time through, you won't get very many. You'll get like maybe 1 or 2, 3, so on and so forth. But if you were to restart with an extra 10 Hero Souls instead of just 1, you now do an extra 100% extra damage. So if it took you 11 days to get there, trust me, it'll only take you like 2 days to get back to exactly where you stopped. And then you can keep going forward because you're already doing more damage. Now, like I said, I'd go anywhere from there's a primal. That was a perfect example of a primal one. Hopefully you got that. But I'm going to stop buying things, so hopefully the next one, either 125 or 130 are primal, so I can show you there again. But like I said, I would try to get at least a couple in there. If you get to like 130 and you haven't found any primals, just restart. It's really unfortunate, but I'd say restart. You want to try to get at least a couple just for that reason. So that's the biggest thing, is the Ascension, knowing when to ascend. That first Ascension saved me a lot of time because I went from 11 days to getting to 140 to, I think it was 3 days to get to 140, and then it was, I think, like 22 hours, so just under 1 day to get to 160. And then it was like, from there on, it just went faster and faster and faster and faster. So that's why it's so important to pay attention to those hero souls and like know when to ascend. So one thing you do with that, I'll mention this here real quick, is that you will, with your hero souls on top of the extra damage, you can buy Ancients, which do different things. They do a variety of things, anywhere from increasing the cooldown or increasing the time on your abilities, to increasing the chance of primal bosses, decreasing the cost of heroes, finding more treasure chests, so on and so forth. And then the big ones, which are increased DPS and gold when you're idle. If you don't attack at all for 60 seconds, you become idle if you don't click at all. And that's big because of right here. I have an extra 20,000% damage to my DPS if I'm not clicking anything. So, of course I'm not going to click anything. That is a lot of extra damage for me to do. Plus I get the extra gold. So, like I said, I have an idle build. I'll break down that build in another video, but you just kind of want to pay attention to what you're going to want to do for your particular run through. I'm going to buy 100 levels and hopefully be able to show you guys primal boss on 130. This will be good. This will clear it fast enough. So yeah, that is my first of a few videos on this game. This is your first Ascension. Like I said, biggest thing to take out of this is to know when to level up your heroes. Don't spread out everything. Stop leveling them up once you get it. Oh, there you go. There's a primal boss. So he gives me 3 hero souls. I get an extra 30 for the transcendent power, which I'll go break down a little bit later. But in the end, that's what you want to do, is you want to make sure you find them for the extra hero souls. That's where a lot of your hero souls come from. So yeah, and there I got a ruby from my clickable thing. They just randomly show up. Make sure to grab them as much as possible. But hope you like the video. If you have any questions or anything like that, leave them in the comments below. I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. I've been playing this game for about 2.5 months now, so I don't remember starting off all that well, but I do remember the biggest thing I found out was to wait for that event, first Ascension. So that's the biggest advice I can give you, is that. So if you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you like other video game related content, that's kind of what I do, so consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching, and please let me know what you think about the video. I'm going to try to do a couple more going in-depth in this game. And again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below, and I will try to get to them as best I can. And I'll try to answer them in a little more clear and specific way than just kind of, hey, I'm jumping around a little bit. Sorry. So that's all I got, guys. Until next time, keep your story going.